Raphael Nakacinda breaks silence. I am Tonga. My words were for HH, not Bweengwa. Explosive revelation. Tonight, a political shockwave. Raphael Nakacinda, one of the most outspoken critics of President Hakainde Hichilema, has made a surprising claim. I am Tonga, and HH is my cousin. But that's not all. Nakacinda now says his controversial remarks in Bweengwa were never directed at the people, but at the president himself. Why is he saying this now? Is this damage control? A political strategy? Or a deeper truth the public has never heard before? Good day, viewers. Welcome to another edition of InspirAfrica Official. I'm Nakash. You know, it's been quite a week in Zambian politics, hasn't it? The kind of week where you think you've seen everything, and then the ground shifts beneath your feet once more. Today, we bring you a story that has sent shockwaves through the corridors of power in Lusaka. Picture this. A seasoned politician stands before the nation, his voice trembling with barely contained emotion, as he attempts to untangle a web of words that have ensnared him. Words that were meant for one man's ears. Words of tribal identity, of heritage, of belonging. Now twisted, weaponized, and broadcast across a nation already fractured by ethnic tensions. What happens when private counsel becomes public scandal? When a message intended for a president becomes ammunition for his adversaries? When three simple words, I am Tonga, ignite a firestorm that threatens to consume careers, reputations, and perhaps even the fragile fabric of national unity? Who was listening when Raphael Nakacinda uttered those fateful words? Who decided they should see the light of day? And perhaps most crucially, what did he really mean when he claimed his ethnic identity in what he believed was a confidential conversation? Was this a moment of tribal pride or political calculation? An innocent statement of heritage or a calculated appeal to ethnic loyalty? And if his words were truly meant only for President Hakainde Hichilema, how did they end up becoming the most controversial utterance in Zambian politics this month? The questions multiply like shadows at dusk. The implications stretch far beyond one man's explanation. And today, Raphael Nakacinda has finally broken his silence. In this video, InspirAfrica Official breaks down the twist behind this statement, the political timing, and what it could mean for Zambia's ethnic politics and the 2026 elections. Watch the full analysis to understand the deeper implications behind this unfolding controversy. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. The revelation came to light on what seemed like an ordinary Tuesday morning in Lusaka. But there was nothing ordinary about what was about to unfold. Raphael Nakacinda, the outspoken member of parliament for Kimbi constituency and former Patriotic Front spokesperson, found himself at the center of a political maelstrom. The controversy began when leaked audio recordings surfaced. Recordings that allegedly captured Nakacinda making statements about his Tonga identity in what appeared to be a politically charged context. The initial wave hit social media platforms around mid-morning. Within hours, the clips had been shared thousands of times, dissected by political analysts, and weaponized by opposition figures who saw in them evidence of ethnic favoritism and tribal politics within the ruling United Party for National Development. By afternoon, acting President Given Labinda had weighed in, condemning what he characterized as dangerous tribalism and calling for an investigation. Political commentators on radio call-in shows debated heatedly. Tribal tensions, always simmering just beneath Zambia's political surface, threatened to boil over. The sequence of events unfolded with dizzying speed. Monday evening, the recordings first appeared on WhatsApp groups. Tuesday morning, they went viral on Facebook and Twitter. Tuesday afternoon, political responses began cascading. Wednesday, calls for Nakacinda's resignation. Thursday, mounting pressure from civil society organizations. And through it all, Raphael Nakacinda remained silent. Until Friday. On Friday morning, Nakacinda called a press conference at his residence in Lusaka. The media assembled, cameras ready, microphones extended, notebooks open. The nation watched. And finally, the man at the center of the storm prepared to speak. Standing before a wall of journalists, Nakacinda began slowly, deliberately choosing his words with the care of a man who had learned their weight. Nakacinda, I want to first thank you all for coming. I know there's been a lot of speculation, a lot of mischaracterization of what I said, and more importantly, to whom I was speaking. Nakacinda, let me be absolutely clear. I am Tonga. I have never denied my heritage, and I never will. I am proud of where I come from, proud of my people, proud of our culture and our contribution to this nation. That is not the issue here. A journalist interjected. Honorable, who were you speaking to when you made these statements? Nakacinda, that's exactly what I'm here to clarify. Those words, I am Tonga, they were part of a private conversation. They were not meant for Honorable Given Lubinda. They were not meant for the PF. They were not, as some have suggested, part of some tribal conspiracy. Nakacinda, those words were for His Excellency President Hakainde Hichilema. They were part of a discussion we were having about representation, about ensuring that all Zambians, regardless of tribe, see themselves reflected in government. I was making a point about my own community, my own people, and the challenges we face. Journalist, but Honorable, why mention your tribe at all? Isn't that the very definition of tribal politics? Nakacinda, you see, this is where context matters. This is where the manipulation happens. When you take someone's words out of context, when you strip away the conversation they were part of, you can make them mean anything. I was not advocating for tribal favoritism. I was simply stating a fact about who I am. Another journalist pressed, how did these recordings become public? Do you believe you were betrayed? Nakacinda, I don't want to speculate about betrayal. What I will say is that private conversations should remain private. What I will say is that there are people who benefit from ethnic division in this country. There are people who would rather see us fighting along tribal lines than uniting around national issues. Journalist, are you accusing acting President Lubinda of using this for political gain? Nakacinda, I'm not accusing anyone specifically. But I will say this. Given Lubinda and the PF have been very quick to weaponize these recordings. Very quick to call for investigations. Very quick to paint me as some kind of tribal zealot. And yet, where were these concerns when tribal politics were allegedly practiced during the PF era? Nakacinda, I served in the PF government. I saw how things worked. I saw patronage. I saw favoritism. And now, suddenly, I'm the face of tribalism because I acknowledged my own heritage in a private conversation with the president? The hypocrisy is stunning. The implications of Nakacinda's revelation extend far beyond the immediate political theater. At stake are fundamental questions about privacy, political discourse, and the role of ethnic identity in Zambian politics. Dr. Mwamba Chisala, a political analyst at the University of Zambia, offered this perspective. What we're seeing here is the collision of several sensitive issues. There's the question of whether politicians can acknowledge their tribal identity without being accused of tribalism. There's the issue of leaked private conversations and whether they should be admissible in public discourse. And there's the deeper question of whether Zambia has truly moved beyond the ethnic politics that have plagued so many African nations. The reaction from the United Party for National Development has been cautiously supportive. Party spokesperson Cornelius Bweengwa released a statement saying, "We stand by our members' right to acknowledge their heritage. Zambia is a multi-ethnic nation, and we celebrate that diversity. What we do not condone is the use of tribal identity for political exclusion or favoritism." The Patriotic Front, however, has doubled down. Acting President Lubinda, speaking to supporters in Kitwe, declared, "This is exactly what we warned about. The UPND government is riddled with tribal considerations." Nakacinda's admission, regardless of whom he claims was his audience, confirms what we've been saying all along. Civil society organizations have expressed concern about the broader implications. Judith Mulna of the Foundation for Democratic Process noted, "We're watching the retribalization of Zambian politics in real time. The fact that stating one's ethnic identity has become controversial shows how fragile our national cohesion really is." Legal experts have weighed in on the matter of the leaked recordings themselves. Constitutional lawyer John Sangwa stated, "If these were indeed private conversations, their recording and dissemination without consent raises serious legal questions. We need to ask, who recorded these conversations? Under what authority? And for what purpose?" The ambiguities remain significant. Was Nakacinda simply affirming his identity, or was there a subtext of political calculation? If his words were truly meant only for President Hichilema, does that change their meaning? And perhaps most troubling, can any Zambian politician acknowledge their tribe without being accused of tribalism? These questions touch on deeper systemic concerns. Zambia's history of relative ethnic harmony compared to its neighbors has often been a source of national pride. But beneath that surface, tribal considerations have long influenced political calculations, appointments, and resource distribution. The Nakacinda affair has simply torn away the veil, forcing Zambians to confront uncomfortable truths about the role of ethnicity in their politics. And so we're left with a portrait of a nation wrestling with its identity, a politician defending his words, and a political establishment that remains deeply divided along lines both ideological and ethnic. Thank you so much for watching today's edition of InspirAfrica Official. This story is far from over, and we'll continue to bring you updates as the situation develops. What do you think? Was Nakacinda's explanation sufficient? Should private political conversations ever become public fodder? And can Zambia's politicians acknowledge their tribal heritage without stoking division? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. I want to hear from you. We'll be back tomorrow with more news, more analysis, and more of the stories that shape our continent. Until then, stay informed, stay engaged, and stay inspired. This is Nakash, signing off.